Tuesday morning. So today we have a webinar which is jointly organized by Imaginarium and AM Chronicle, where we're going to dive into various aspects of SLS-based fast prototyping with a highlight on Fuse 1+30 watts by Formlabs. So what we're looking at today is how Formlabs Fuse 1+30 brings in a high performance selective laser sintering into different industries. We'll discover how this technology can enhance your manufacturing capabilities with precision, speed, and versatility. Of course, we have a experienced user as well with us, Shrinivas Balwadkar from KAASH Studio. Welcome, sir, for this session. And
thank you for having me here.
And we will have Saksham, Rastogi, and Amod Satarkar from Imaginarium who will share their inputs and take this webinar forward today. So thanks once again, all of you, to join us on this webinar today. I'm sure all of us will learn something from this session today. And if you have any comments, any queries at any time, please feel free to share in the chat box. We will have a dedicated question and answer session at the end of the webinar. So do keep sharing your questions and point of view as we go along. That's it. That's it from me. And we'll get, without any further ado, we'll get into the session. So I'd like to invite Amod Sadarkar, Vice President Sales at Imaginarium, to share a bit about Imaginarium, and then we can dive straight into the subject.
Thank you, Aditya. Welcome again, all of you. Thanks for joining us this morning. To give a brief about Imaginarium Solutions, Imaginarium brand, all of the industry knows. We are in the forefront of additive manufacturing. We ourselves are a service bureau. We are into jewelry manufacturing. We are into healthcare applications, and we are into providing solutions and machines and accessories to the industry. Formlabs is one of our biggest partner. We represent Formlabs in India for last several years, and we carry overall 2 decades of experience in the additive manufacturing industry. When it comes to catering the industry with the Formlabs solution, where may it be SLA, large format, or smaller format, or SLS, we have customers from various industries: automotive, healthcare, digital dentistry, orthotics and prosthetics. And our engineers are capable and certified enough to unlock the applications and help them adopt 3D printing technology. Today, we are bringing to you, in coordination with AM Chronicle, Fuse 1+30 watts. So this is a SLS technology-based offering from Formlabs, and I would say this kind of seminar is going to be key for the industry to understand how across the globe companies are adopting SLS-based printing and how are they applying it in the domain of prototyping, but more than that, for production. So with that, my colleague Saksham Rastogi, who is expert and our lead application engineer, would take you through the seminar about how we are applying SLS-based printing in fast prototyping and production. Over to you, Saksham.
Thank you, Amod sir, for the introduction and the insights on the Formlabs solutions. So welcome everyone, all the participants. Good morning to everyone. And so we'll do just a quick poll first of all. So on your screen, you can see there is a quick poll asking on the question that what are the challenges we are facing in production with 3D printing today. So 3D printing, it's not just limited to prototyping, it's gone beyond production facilities now. So, but there are the users, there are the challenges with the users who wants to adopt for production. They see few of the challenges. So on your screen, you can list down and you can choose the option, what are your challenges in 3D printing when it comes to the production applications.
Right, we have about 5 people from the 23 who joined who have responded. I request all others to share your views also. It helps us to make the session more interactive and responsive as well.
Okay, so let's continue. So when we talk about 3D printing technologies, so in overall, the 3D printing technologies has been provided in three categories, which are majorly used worldwide by lots of users, lots of enterprises for research, and even for the end use components. So we have listed on the three prominent technologies here: FDM, SLA, and SLS, where we have listed down with some of their key components, why users prefer, on what basis, on what key features, what solutions users they choose of the technology. So when it comes to the production, when we are talking about the production facility, so we have seen customers using FDM, SLA, and SLS, all three solutions, depending upon their need. But what users are permanently looking for the good results with 3D printing is, first of all, the accuracy. Second is the throughput. They want to produce more parts in less amount of time so that they can deliver good components, good parts to their end use customers on time, and they can do a lead in the market also with their customization, with their capability to do design iterations, and also to provide customizations uh, to their requirement, to the customer's requirement. And that also asks for the complex designs. So for complex designs, FDM and SLA has its own limitations when it comes to complex designs because of the support generations and the moving components altogether. But with SLS, since the powder itself supports or works as a support structure, and it can be removed easily through the gaps, and we can make the interlocking features, moving components, assembly components as a single piece, which saves a lot of time and provides the designers also to improve with their design capabilities. Now, when it comes to the equipment cost or the investments, so with SLS, the more the biggest obstruction is on the setting of the industrial SLS printers, which cost around $2 lakh or even more with the industrial solutions. But we have some solutions which comes in the commercial grades, which are the desktop industrial grade or professional industrial SLS printers, where the users can have a complete setup of printer, powder management, and also the sandblasting, automatic sandblasting equipments with a very good price range in a compact footprint size. So with Formlabs, we are providing the solutions from idea to production with lots of enterprises worldwide, where we are serving customers through in the automotive industries, consumer grade industries, for surgical guides in dentistries, and also to the robotic solutions in entertainment industry or even for the footwear industries also. So with Formlabs, we have the solutions because of the materials and the technology. We are able to serve all these enterprises with different applications for their prototyping to end use parts. So we are going to explain here about the complete Formlabs SLS ecosystem, that how it will perform and how it can be useful with their advantageous features. So when we talk about the Fuse 1 Plus SLS 3D printer, it is a very truly and a rapid SLS 3D printing, which comes with the 30-watt fiber laser, and Formlabs' own customized galvanometers. It has a swappable build chamber also, so that the users can do continuous production and it doesn't create any obstruction or any wait in time to go on to the next build. Now, because of this 30-watt fiber laser, we are able to do higher throughput, high precision components within hours and not in days for a quick turnaround time where you can produce prototypes and also durable end use parts. Because of this technology of the integration of the own galvanometers, uh, the 3D printer is optimized for the very high packing densities, and the powder recyclability is much even more, where it allows the users to have a zero wastage and you can achieve high ROI within the time. The Fuse One SLS 3D printer also unlocks a lot of material options for different applications, whether it can be for engineering, it can be for drones, it can be for footwear, it can be for dental, it can be for automotive or aerospace applications, and even for consumer grade applications. So we have a variety of materials, and because of this industrial materials, we can produce work like prototypes where you can do all the functional testings before you go on to the next stage. And you can also produce durable end use parts to send your product into the market. Because of the integrated computer vision systems and the live camera feed inside the 3D printer with the sensors also, it is able to have a live feedback on the machine so that you can monitor on the screen with the dashboard anywhere sitting around the world. It can produce reliable, consistent parts because of this patent pending surface armor technology, where it produces picture perfect parts every time that you print components. And the top of the cake, the cherry, is the accessibility of this SLS industrial solution here with a compact size in a contained ecosystem with seamless workflow where you can do the printing to the powder recovery and also the automate post-processing finishing. So let's understand how this technology works, how strong components we can create through this video.
SLS 3D printing, a powerful tool. First made accessible by our easy-to-use printer that created the fastest growing community of SLS users in the world. But lately, the world demands we iterate faster than ever. So we made our next generation printer twice as fast. Introducing Fuse 1+30W, a compact SLS printer with an industrial punch. Unlock same-day printing with industrial-grade materials and nitrogen purge compatibility for in-house carbon fiber printing. Building on a reliable end-to-end workflow, Fuse 1 Plus boasts a powerful 30-watt laser that sinters prints in hours, so you can start and finish parts the same day. Re-engineered components enable the use of exclusive materials and enhance mechanical properties across our entire materials library. Plus, we reached a major milestone, zero waste printing, enabling lower cost per part so you can deliver maximum output and minimum waste, while providing whatever the world may need tomorrow and today. Fuse 1+30W, industrial quality parts in hours, not days.
So that's the beauty of this compact SLS industrial solution from Formlabs, where you can print your complete builds within hours and not in days. Okay, which saves a lot of time and also enables for a higher throughput capability. Now, along with the 3D printer, the Formlabs also has its own cleaning system, which is completely automated, where you can have the combined station here, all-in-one combined station, where you can do the part extraction, okay, with the provided toolkits. It has a powder recovery system, which restores the recycled powder and the fresh powder. And also it comes with the standalone mixing device where the recycled powder and the fresh powder can be mixed together in a fixed ratio. So it provides a complete simple workflow for all in one category for your part recovery, extraction, powder mixing. It provides complete toolkits and a compact enclosed system. Now, after your part recovery and the material collection, you can get the parts for your final post-processing, where you can clean up the parts for complete polishing within 15 minutes. So this machine provides fully automated system for a part finishing, where you can get or achieve the professional consistent results with a reduced labor. And also because of this fuse shift machine, the users can save by 80% of the time on the part extraction. So the workflow has been kept very, very simple and ease of use for any users. So with the software of our preform by the Form Labs, we can prepare the complete build pack with a single click, where it will automatically do the orientation and the part layout. Now, after your preparation, you can send the file to print on the machine. You can send the print via Wi-Fi or the LAN connectivity. So during the prints, you can do the checks and you can load the material also. Not during the printing, because of its live camera feed, and the Formlabs has its own dashboard where you can monitor your print anytime from anywhere because of the sensors, live sensors, and the live video camera feeds. Now, after printing, we can extract our prints. We can automatically reclaim the recycled powder and mix the powder. And after that, we can do the post-processing automated with a fuse blast machine. So the workflow has been kept very simple, where you can produce parts, you can print, you can clean up the part and polish your part within the same day and not in few days. So let's understand this complete workflow with this short video, how you can produce or how you can extract parts within 15 minutes after the part is completely printed.
3D printing platform chosen by more than half the SLS users in the world to meet their everyday demands. Equipped with truly rapid same-day printing and a wide range of industrial-grade materials, Formlabs Fuse Series ecosystem has the power to take your parts from printed to finished in as little as 15 minutes. At the core of the ecosystem is Fuse 1+, a printer with a powerful 30-watt laser that sinters parts in hours, not days. After printing, our automated post-processing solutions take over to reduce tedious manual labor by 80%. Fuse Sift is our automated material handling system that recovers and recycles used powder in as little as 5 minutes to minimize waste for a lower cost per part. Fuse Blast is our automated media blasting system that brings parts to a professional finish in as little as 10 minutes. With automated tumbling for hands-free cleaning in just one click, and ergonomic manual modes for total control. Whether you want to produce batches of small, complex components or parts that vary in material and shape, the Fuse ecosystem makes it faster and easier than ever to deliver parts that are clean to the touch in as little as 15 minutes. Want to refine your parts even further? Our optional polishing system elevates parts for a smooth, semi-gloss, dye-ready finish. Plus, continuous software updates ensure your Fuse Series ecosystem just keeps getting faster and more efficient. With a growing library of industrial-grade nylon, TPE, glass-filled, and carbon fiber-filled materials, the Fuse ecosystem is reinventing SLS printing and post-processing.
So now you have seen how, after printing of the complete build pack, the Fuse Shift provides you the capability to extract your prints within 5 to 10 minutes. It does powder collection for the recycled powder and do the automatic mixing with the fresh powder. And on the Fuse Blast, the users doesn't have to do any kind of the manual work. So it comes with the complete automatic option of tumbling option, where you can keep the parts in the tumbler. It will automatically rotate. For any complex geometries, you can get the finishing parts within 10 to 15 minutes. And also it provides you an option to have an extension of polishing particles to provide you the clean to touch parts capability and the outputs. But when we talk about the compact SLS professional system, so how compact we are talking about? So we can have this complete compact system of Fuse 1 Plus 3D printer, Fuse Shift, and the Fuse Blast in a length span of 42 feet, in a width of 35 feet, and with the height of 51 feet, so that it can be used anywhere in your work ecosystem. You can place this system in any office environment also, as it has a very quiet and contained operation, because the fuse shift, it has a negative air pressure, and it's a complete fully sealed machine which makes sure that all the powder remains inside with the media blaster. It comes also with the HEPA filters to control the air quality surrounding the systems, so that users can sit around and can do their work. And with it, for a quiet operation of less than 70 decibel sound, you can place this anywhere in the office environment. So this doesn't need any special space for the installation or for the working, and you can keep it placed for the office in your office environments anywhere nearby any machineries, and you can have a quiet and contained operation from printing to post processing. Now, by understanding the all features, the workflow, fuse shift, and the fuse blast with the automated post processing, now when we talk about the accuracy and the throughput for a industrial grade Fuse 1 Plus 3D printer, so the Formlabs has tested their components, their parts with the ISO grade for on to produce the grade 1 parts or the tier 1 grade parts within the 24 hours. So this is the test results on the ISO grade certification to produce tier 1 grade parts for any industries, where you can produce the components from a build pack within 24 hours. So here we have taken an example of an enclosure with a top and bottom casing printed all together in the same build pack. And you can see the consistency and the accuracy of the results, which matches the capability or the requirements for the industries, where you can produce the components at a fraction of the cost within the same day. It also matches the precision and the reliability that one can achieve from the injection molded produced parts. So when we talk about the accuracy and the higher throughput, so on the throughput, we can do within 24 hours of a very complex build packs with this 3D printer. Let's understand from this example. So this is the same enclosure with the top and bottom casing of the set dimensions you can see on the screen, with a consistent wall thickness of 2.2 millimeter. So with a single click of our preform software, the software, it will automatically pack and orient the components, maintaining the gaps, the required gaps between the two components. So all these components are packed together with a total quantity of 60, with the nylon 12 material at the layer thickness of 110 microns. And you can see it can achieve the packing density of 20% for this component. And it shows you the complete print time of 13 hours. So now you can do one build pack within 24 hours, and after cooling you can put up the new build platform for the continuous printing. And you can also achieve a very competitive part per cost at a $2.4 for this complete enclosure of bottom and top casing. So when we talk about the versatility of this 3D printer, okay, so it comes with the variety of materials for the industrial applications, where it can support to any industries for any kind of applications, any kind of requirements. So we have a nylon family of materials, where we have the nylon 11, nylon 12, nylon 12 tough, and now also we have the nylon 12 white. We also have the stiff composites materials where it is required for some high-end applications where the thermal stability is much more required or stiffness is more required for the good or higher impact resistance. So we have the nylon 12 glass filled material, and also we have the nylon 11 carbon fiber material. And also for the flexible components or for the wearable components, we have the elastomeric material, which is the TPU at the shore hardness of 90A. So when we talk about these applications with these materials, so for example, nylon 11 carbon filled material, it is used for the high performance where the strong and the stiffness parts are required for the functional applications. And also it is a very good material when it comes to the vibration and impact resistance, strength to weight ratio, and thermal stability. The next category of composite is the nylon 12 glass filled, where the structural rigidity and the thermal stability are the key factors required for your components so that we can achieve the higher thermal stability, good dimensional accuracy, and the low warpages. Then we have the general purpose nylon 12 material, which can be used for the very good dimensional accuracy for the variety of applications like in drones. And also we have a balanced stiffness, good surface finishes, and high dimensional accuracy. Then we have the nylon 11 material where we can, wherever you need the ductility, like in the eye wear components or even the wearable components, where you need the flexibility, durability, and the good performance, good robustness for the portable devices, sports equipment, or for the wearable devices, you can use the nylon 11 material. We have recently introduced nylon 12 white powder also because some of the customers, they want parts in colors, so we can print the components in white with the nylon 12 material, and after that you can do the any kind of post processing such as dye or even the paint process. And for the nylon 12 tough, it is much more durable than the nylon 12. It has a double elongation than the nylon 12, and it has a more fracture resistance. It provides a very good dimensional accuracy, and it also improves the repeatability. So let's see with some case studies and examples how the users are using it and doing their setups for different applications. So this first example is from Bros in North America. So they have the headquarters for R&D where they do the testings and development for automotive vehicle doors, lift gates and seats, and they do all kind of prototyping and the testings. As you can see the screen, they are doing the testings on the seat prototypes. So the 3D printing is fitting here for the high volume prototypes, jigs and fixtures, setup and trials, even for the welding applications and for the end use 3D printed components. So this is the setup of the Bros in North America, where you can see the compactness. Because of the compactness of this Fusion plus 3D printer, you can see there are 3 3D printers and only 1 fuse shift. So these are the components that they are producing, such as the gearbox housing for the prototypings and the testing. So they have produced a volume of about 800 pieces in the material of nylon 12 glass filled because they require the good vibration resistance for the testings. BMW X7 clips. So they're producing about 16,000 components per month, and they are able to build in per chamber about 1440 parts with the nylon 12 glass filled material. So nylon 12 glass filled material can be used as a durable end use material for your automotive components. This is the testings for the seat suspension where they have integrated SLA and SLS produced components. So in this, they have produced 6 pieces of SLS and 3 pieces with the SLA from Formlabs in glass filled material in SLS and durable material in SLA. And it's a total assembly of 150 pieces. And you can see the component fitting in the seat testing. And they're doing the testing, fatigue testings, which can mimic years of use and the weight distribution for this application. For end-of-line magnetic connectors, wherever you want to produce the connectors in a very less time. So that also you can do it. Ford also has used the technology SLS for the development of their new range Explorer by using the Fuse 1 3D printer. So there's a company called Mosol where they do the customization for the police and special vehicles, and they are using SLS 3D printing. So you can see the parts in action here in Germany. And you can see the difference of the components and the timeline through the different technologies, where with SLS 3D printer for design to prototypes, they have just taken about 1 to 2 weeks because of the SLS. And with the conventional technologies such as sheet metal, thermoforming, and injection molding, the time was very high. So there was a lot of 60 to 70% of the time savings here. And the lead time for producing end use parts, you can see they're able to produce within 1 to 2 days only. You can see here more parts which they have customized for the police vehicle and for the special vehicle. So we can produce components for such as your fire vehicles or for the police vehicles and even for the ambulances also. So wherever you need some special equipments to produce in a short batch productions, you can go for the SLS Fuse 1 Plus 3D printer. So when we talk about the drones also, so with the drone, so the industries are prominently using the drone applications by using the SLS 3D printing. So there are very much more highly advanced components we can produce, such as the frame components, motor mounts, propellers, landing gear components. And because of the very highly customization requirement in drones, the SLS 3D printing makes a better technology here to produce components for a short run volumes and for the easy iterations where you can do the quick design iterations for any kind of customers. And apart from the drone components, we can also produce the drone accessories such as carrying cases, battery carrying cases, repair tools. We can have the remote control unit housings, landing gear extenders. We can have the landing pads or cones. We have the radio signal enhancers. So all these components can be produced for the drones, for the drone parts or for the drone accessories, and it will help you to reduce cost, reduce timelines. It can help you to produce on-demand productions, and it will also provide you an agility for the competition. So not only for the automotive or for the drones, for prototypes or for the end-use components. So this technology can also be used on your manufacturing floors to produce jigs and fixtures. So this is the one example for the collet pads for CNC turning, where we have used the nylon 12 powder to make the customized or the special forms of the collet pads for the CNC turning. So you can see the part in action here. So the nylon 12 powder is nylon 12 material. It's very capable for the chemical resistance and it provides a very good durability. So because of this reason, nylon 12 makes a better material here. So this tool can handle the coolant or the soluble oil. Okay, it can sustain up to 5,000 RPM spindle speeds. It can sustain a clamping pressure of 6,000 pounds also, and it can sustain more than 3,000 parts manufacturing or 100 plus hours of the production per use. So the collet pads are already a changeable components in the CNC turning manufacturings. So these collet pads needs to change from time to time, and for the uh, different raw material shapes, you need a different customized collet pads. So when we talk about the production of these collet pads also, we can save up to 90% of the cost and the time. So you can see here the difference in the cost and the time also. And apart from these collet pads or any jigs and fixtures or any provided manufacturing aids for the CNC or the VMC machines, we can also produce the jigs for your assembly line. So this is the one example for complete integrated assembly fixture here for the magnetic press jig here. And you can see all the components are 3D printed with the nylon 12 material. So that was all about the machine, its capability, different applications. in different categories, how automotives are using it, such as Ford or Bros North America, the tier one suppliers, and the OEMs, how the customized uh, service bureaus who provides the customizations to police and special vehicles are using it, how this technology can be used to make components and the accessories parts in the drone industries. So now let's hear from our special guest, Mr. Shrinivas from KAASH Studio, about his experience on the Fusion Plus 3D printer. Over to you.
Thank you, Saksham. Hello, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank Imaginarium and also AM Chronicle for having me here to share my experience about the Fuse. I'll give you a brief introduction of myself. I'm Srinivas, like Saksham introduced, and my background is in engineering. I did my undergrad in mechanical engineering from Cardiff University. And then I went on to pursue a master's in additive and advanced manufacturing, which was pretty interesting for me. So after that, that's what brought me into the manufacturing industry as such. I recently, like 2 years ago, I started this company, Car Studio, with two other friends of mine, both in electrical and marketing. So we have different expertise. We came up with a company that can basically provide 3D printing solutions. And we didn't want to just be a manufacturer for someone. We also wanted to specialize in product development. And that is the reason that we were looking at different printers that we can choose. It can be SLA or SLS for that matter, not just starting a 3D printing company. And the markets that we wanted to cater to were automotive, medical, IoT devices. Right now are a very important market and they require a lot of 3D printing. So that is what we wanted to cater to. So that's how we got into the market. We were finding the right printers. I will tell you why we chose Fuse One is the reasons like I mentioned just now. We had something in mind and we wanted to see which printer would be ideal for us. But as a new company, it wouldn't make sense for us to invest in a very expensive printer, then test the market and see how everything turns out. We explored the market, we saw what options we have. We saw one or two options. Fuse One Plus was one of them. Very great. I'll give you an honest review. On paper, everything looks good. Saksham did a very good introduction about the printer. It was amazing. And I've been using this for 2 years, this printer now, and I can tell you that it is true. I've had the same experience. One was reliability of the prints and repeatability. So that I can assure you that Fuse One does really good job on that when it comes to that. And even in terms of build speed, now you might say that one example was where Saksham showed you that it takes 24 hours to get the whole print done. But that's not the only case which we found advantageous to us. We've printed parts which were in lower quantities, probably 5 or 6 parts that printed in 3 hours. And that was only possible because the volume is in such a way that I don't have to use the whole height of the printer. I can settle the parts down in like let's say the 100 or 50 or 100 from the bottom. The print will finish in 3 or 4 hours. It'll take a few hours to cool and it's ready. So I can print parts in less than 6 hours if I wanted to, if I can get the packing density right. So that is also one of the most advantageous things about the Fuse One Plus. And I would say getting a printer at this cost with this pricing is great. I will, if anyone's getting into SLS printing, I would definitely recommend them Fuse One because if you go for industrial printer, you can probably get more than 5 or 6 Fuse in one SLS industrial SLS printer. So the price is mad, and the quality is the same, if not better, than some of the industrial printers that I've seen because accuracy wise, we never had complaints. We worked with companies like Tata Advanced Systems, John Deere, even many other automotive tier two and tier one manufacturers. They do their own testing after we send them the parts. They do a quality testing on their end. And we've actually never had any complaints from them in terms of accuracy or the build quality. So that has been a great part for us. So far, I think we must have printed more than 3,000 parts, if I'm not wrong, 4,000 parts on the fuse. And another thing I mentioned on the presentation by Saksham was he showed you an example of 20% packing density. Just yesterday, we've got an order in pipeline, and we are looking somewhere around 25 to 26 packing density on those parts, which is possible. I wouldn't say it happens every time, but because of the size and the shapes of the part, we can get something of that sort. And then that really drops down the cost per part per se, because they wanted in mass. They wanted, I think they want 2 or 3 thousand pieces every month for those components, and we can match the price by, let's say, it's a smaller part, not very big, it's around this big, but it drops down to 3 or 4 rupees per part. So when it comes to 3D printing, it's pretty surprising. They were surprised as well that they didn't have to go into injection molding. Of course, they might in the future when they want to go into like lakhs or like 10 or 20 lakhs of those. But the first 6, 7 months, these will definitely be 3D printed. That's something that we are really happy about. And like you would have seen that I kept saying it's fast. That's one of the advantages. Genuinely, it's really fast. And it's great for batch productions, I would say. If you have something, if you manufacture components or for even for in-house rapid prototyping, if your component size isn't bigger than 300 mm, then I would say this is the best printer. At least as a service bureau for us, we knew that getting into market was always going to be difficult. And if I have to stop for 4 or 5 days just to fill up my printer to make it feasible for me to print something, it wouldn't be a very, what do we say, financially smart decision to make to buy a printer. Investment you can make at once, but running it would also be a little difficult. So Fuse One has helped us so far with that point, and same quality, same pricing at a faster speed, giving it's definitely giving us an advantage. More so, like yeah, and when it comes to support as well, one thing I would like to appreciate from Imaginarium was we received this SLS printer last year or 1.5 year ago, and upon arrival, it wasn't functioning well. And we wanted to test the printer as soon as we can. Of course, we had that excitement. I mentioned this to the team in Imaginarium. They sent another printer, a brand new printer, the next morning itself. So it came from Mumbai to Pune. Next day in the morning, there was a technician in the afternoon who was there to set up the printer. Uh, they didn't bother about asking us to send the first printer immediately. That printer was with us for a week or two. They told us to take our time. Once everything's settled, we can send that printer back. That is another thing as a service bureau, which I really found useful with Imaginarium and Form Labs is their support. 100% I would recommend. As an engineer, I would tell you that I can find printers who can give similar product quality or print quality of parts, definitely. Maybe not at the same price. They'll be expensive for sure. But the support is the most important for me. If something is going wrong, if I'm telling or if I'm marketing myself as a rapid prototyping service, and if my printer's down for 10 days, it's not a good thing for my company. With Imaginarium, I haven't seen that. So whenever we have a problem, even any minor problem where we are like, okay, we don't know if we can fix. So Imaginarium sold us the printer. They don't have to give us the support for orienting something to get the best finish, to get the best quality, but Imaginarium does that. We've called their technical heads, their engineers, to ask them, okay, we've got this part. We don't know if the PA12 powder will suffice it. On paper, the what do we say? The material properties are great, but do you think it would be a good idea to print it in PA12 or should we go for the SLA grade Pro resin? And that expertise has always been given to us by Imaginarium, where Rushik, one of their leads in engineering, he is always helping us with anything when it comes to powder or even SLA. And another thing from Foam Labs was we started with PA12 printing, then we got into PA12 glass field. We printed a few parts. We had some errors in glass field, which we mentioned to Imaginarium. And as a service bureau who only has one printer, we were skeptical about how the problem will be resolved because we weren't sure as to how much time they would give. This was at the initial stage. But then we found out that Imaginarium first gave us an online they had an online meeting with us to understand what the problem was. They checked the data logs of the printer. From their end, they did everything that they could. So it was like a three or 4 days time span where I was on call with them every day, and they were kind enough to help me with everything, even minor issues we were trying to plot. After the fourth day, Imaginarium suggested that they'll get the technicians from Foam Labs, and you can imagine that Formlabs in the US sells printers in tens and 20 quantities to one single vendor. So we are not that big when it comes to being a client for Formlabs. We only have one printer and then SLA printers of Formlabs, of course. But even then, I was on a call with their lead in sales and their lead engineer from Singapore. We had a meeting with them for an hour or two where Rushik was there to explain them what the issue was from Imaginarium side. He explained them what we couldn't from our end. We sat down, we figured out a problem, and Formlabs and Imaginarium decided to replace two parts of our machine for free. So they said, okay, fine, if you're having this issue, we don't want you to stop producing anything as such. We can just replace these parts for you and you can start printing. And that really helped because then that's the thing that gave us confidence where we can say, okay, if something goes wrong in the future, I know that this backing is there. Doesn't matter what the problem would be, but if there's someone to support, I know that okay, fine, I have the right support, I have the right expertise behind me to then continue this. And when it comes to, I would say precision of the parts, and again the part quality price, I have actually converted many people from SLE to SLS. They came in to us, they asked us, they were like, okay, I want to make this an SLA because SLA is cheaper. And when I say SLA, I mean Chinese SLA. So ABS. I've converted them from Chinese ABS SLA prices to SLS prices because they saw the part quality. It's not always necessary that they need a very good finish, but they just aren't aware about what they can get in SLS. They can get a very good quality if we beat blast it, if we give it a good finish. It's a very good part at a lower cost than SLA. And a normal ABS like SLA, you can achieve that cost. And clients are really happy because it lasts longer. If you do an SLA in ABS, keep it in the heat and it'll bond. So you don't want that. That is where most of the clients that come in, we try to understand their application, where the part's going to be used, and some of them have been really surprised to see that you're getting good quality SLS parts that are this fast and can match the SLA price as well. So that's where Fuse has definitely prevailed in our end. And Sift, I would say definitely good option. We have the Sift as well. Comes in handy with material recycling, powder, and everything. Only so all of these are very good points. One point I would say as a user and giving my honest opinion, I would definitely have to say that if parts are bigger than 300 or 400 mm, Fuse is not ideal for you. Anything less than 300 mm and you do it very often, definitely Fuse is the best printer because at this price and this price per part, you aren't getting anything better at this quality, of course. Definitely a good quality, and because we use the foam labs powder, we really don't have to worry about the material strength. Everything is defined by foam labs. The printer is foam labs. The powder is foam labs. So the print quality, we can give that with assurance. I think you also missed out on a certification of ROHS. So there's also ROHS compliance certification that Formlabs has done recently. And I know this because we worked with a company who does medical devices, and that compliance we had to show to them. So we asked Mr. Ramnesh, and he was kind enough to give us the compliance. He gave us the data sheet. So material is also ROHS compliant now from Formlabs, which is a great thing. Makes it easier for us to then pitch it to medical device companies who are working with medical components or anything to do with healthcare. Final thoughts I would like to give because I think I've taken a lot of time, but I would say it's when it comes to printers, we found the speed very important. Mostly speed because I can print 10 parts instead of printing 100 parts and I can give it to a client. The client's not necessarily going to give me orders which is going to fill up the whole printer. And as a company who also gives product development services, we do most of our prototyping on SLS. So if we have something that we need to test out, and of course, if we have a bunch of parts, 10 or 12 parts, we put it on the SLS printer and then prototype it rather than doing it on FDM or SLA, just to get a hang of it in terms of costing, fitting, and also showing it to the client when we have to. Other than that, always happy, and we are actually looking up on Imaginarium and Formlabs for all the support that we get. So one of the hassle and stress is relieved there, where anything that's new, like the white powder that's launched, I called Balwadkar and I was like, tell me how the powder is performing. I need to know reviews before I get the powder. And Alankar told me, okay, fine. As soon as Imaginarium does the testing and everything there, he sent me the report. Once I have that report, then I'm confident enough to then go ahead and tell them, okay, this has been tested in real life in India. It's not like it was done somewhere else. It's done on our printers here in our weather. And because of Imaginarium's testing, I'm able to then do it forward. So yeah, that would be my that's my experience so far with the Fuse one, and I'm looking at once we scale it up a little bit further, I would definitely go on for another Fuse one plus for running a different material on probably PP. Polypropylene is also a great material and readily required in the market right now. So either PA12 glass filled or polypropylene. These two materials which Formlabs already provides is great because of their density as well. So one of those two for sure.
So thank you, Mr. Shrinivas. That was a very wonderful insight of you, and very good points that you have mentioned, which I have not included in my presentations also, like the packing density, where you can achieve higher packing density.
Yes.
And very good to hear that it helps you to win the confidence of your customers, and
Yeah.
converting from SLA or FDM to SLS on the prototyping and with the cost effectiveness and providing
Yeah.
the greater qualities. So that's what every customer wants, that they can achieve or get the good quality components without compromising their functional requirements and at a very good part costings in the competition. So
Yeah, thanks, Srinivas, for sharing that experience, because I think it's very important to talk about the real life experiences in additive manufacturing, because it's been this industry has been around for a long time, and it's very important to bring up the real issues, the real challenges which can happen, like in terms of
Yeah.
what you mentioned, the machine was not working, but the response time is important, right? The resolution is important. Problems can come anywhere, but I think what the resolution comes in is important. So, thanks. I think you covered a lot of areas of manufacturing challenges from a service bureau perspective. Uh, you know, let's open up the question and answer session now. Maybe we have time to take about 2-3 questions, and the rest we can pass it on to the team and they can respond later. So we have a question which says, why did you choose Fuse 1+30W, especially as your first printer? I think this is towards Shrinivas. I think there are options in the higher end bracket, or there are options in the mid range bracket as well. But how do you zero in onto this product?
Okay. So I would tell you, when we started, we had three options. Not a lot in this price range. Of course, when it comes to SLS, you don't expect anything costing less than 1 CR, or let's say 2 CR. That's the average that was there before Formlabs launched the Fuse one for sure. And another option that we had was Sinterit, uh, which is similar to Formlabs in terms of size and even pricing. We were doing a comparison between these two instead of going for industrial size, because as I mentioned, it doesn't make sense for us to invest in a big printer and not have the market ready for it, or get wait for packing densities to start printing. We don't have large volumes that we can print straight up. And between Sintered and Formlabs support definitely. And I know there are people who would sell you Sinterit in India, but I visited 5 companies other than Imaginarium before buying this printer, and something just clicked with Imaginarium. We met with Priyesh, we met with Alankar, we sat down. They asked us questions about everything that we wanted to do. Nothing about the printer. They were like, okay, what's your background? Why do you want to get in here? It was more of an interview than we actually going to buy a printer there. And after that, he did mention that, fine, you can go with one of these two, but the repeatability when it comes to getting the same parts again and again, Fuse one prevails. We saw videos online. We went to expert polls. We saw communities commenting on this, and based on that, we made this decision, and we are very glad we did, because it's doing everything that we expected it to do. And in case of problems, the two major problems that we faced, we got the right support. That's the most important for us, I would say. So that's why we went with Fuse One Plus, rather than anything else.
Great, great. I think that helps, in the decision making as well. So from so if anybody has any questions for our panelists, please do share it via the chat box or the question and answer option in front of you, so that we can get back to you with inputs on that. Great. So, if while we wait, if there are any other questions, I have one question for Srinivas from a industry perspective, right? You have invested in a certain technology. How do you identify which industry application you are targeting, or how do you go about driving that business direction for you at KAASH Studio? How did I identify which application to chase and identify rather than going all out with everything? So is there a certain approach to that, or are you sticking to certain industries?
So definitely, that's a good question. That was a question that we should have asked ourselves a year ago for sure. But when we started, our approach was to keep it open. The first 4 or 5 months, we were trying to reach every industry there was. We reached to CNC people, we reached to injection molding people, whether it be for core cavities or jigs and fixtures, automotive industry for prototyping, IoT devices. So 6 months were everywhere. We didn't have a specific goal or we didn't have a specific target as such. Those 6 months was spread out. Some of them were a hit and a miss. Some of them clicked really well. Based on that, then we narrowed down the industries that we wanted to focus on and the capabilities that we have. We know that anything to do with electronic casing, devices, which can go into automotive, which can go into aerospace, even drones for sale, they are an ideal size for our printer. I wouldn't be printing a bumper for Volkswagen in SLS right now, but I would be printing hundreds and 200s of parts which can go into the interior of a car. So we focus more on getting into IoT devices as our target and medical devices. We were a little skeptical about medical because like I said, we weren't sure on the ROHS compliances, but Formlabs has done that now, and that gave us the confidence. Now we've also catered to medical equipments where we can. That's an edge that we got with HP. That HP MJF first had ROHS, and people were going. They had no other option than going to HP MJF. But as soon as they realized, okay, now we can also do the same, we've had many people come to us rather than go and get it done in MJF. So right now, like just to a quick answer to your question would be maybe start with exploring all the industries. We found our forte was in IoT devices, drones, and smaller components, and that's where they need it faster. Other people with bigger printers aren't catering to them as quick as we can. So that's advantage for us. That's where we focus now.
A couple of questions which have come in. So one is, what is the pricing for Fuse One? Because the Imaginarium team can address this.
Yeah.
So Amod sir, you want to take up this question?
Sorry, can you just repeat the question again?
Yeah, so the question was regarding pricing or commercials for Fuse One.
It's pretty clear. I mean, it ranges from 40 lakhs to 60 lakhs, depending on what kind of setup you are thinking to install, from printer to material handling to even blasting. So that is the rate to, if you want to understand the pricing, but from 40 to 60 lakhs.
Thanks. So I have another question is more towards the R&D side. So do we have a facility where people can use this printer for changing materials by adding the materials they are developing? Like, is there scope to use the Fuse 1+30W to look at our material R&D?
Yes, definitely. Actually, Fuse comes with their own materials, proprietary formalized materials, 6 different materials, but it also allows you to use your own material where you can do your R&D on your own created polymers on it. Definitely allows you to do that.
So on the R&D side of the materials, so you can, yes, use any materials with the open system, because Formlabs comes with open system now. And you can do the, you can convert your materials in the powder form with that particular size. So the particular sizes, so that we can always help you to support what is the right size of the powder size. And yes, you can test it out. And one more advantage. So one more advantage when we talk about new material testings or new material research in the powder category for the polymers. So moreover, in the bigger machines, you need more material. Okay, so more materials you will require. More material means you need a higher amount of kgs to have a testing trials. So it gets difficult for the research institutes to gather all this material and do have a multiple trials on those materials, because you do the one trial, then you do the again iterations on the material compositions, then you do the again trials. It needs a lot of material. So with our Fusion 3D printer, you can do the trials in the less amount of quantity of the material, so that it will save you the time, it will save the cost of the research development on the materials.
One last question we can just take, and we'll close for today. Are there any options to use compostable materials for 3D printing on the form labs? Are there any materials which are composted for compostability at the moment?
So compostable, so any material in powder category with 3D printing, how do we say that your material should be supported for that particular technology? If you're using FDM, if you're using SLA for resin, if you're using SLS for powder, so your powder should be capable to undergo the sintering process. Okay, so it should have that kind of property. So it can be a composite, it can be a compostable, it can be glass filled, it can be with some additive fillers, or it can be any, elastomeric material also. But it should have a capability to go under the sintering process.
Sure. So I think that's about it for today. We have answered most of the questions which have come in. And thanks a lot again, Shrinivas, to be part of this session and sharing your inputs. And it was great working with the Imaginarium team to bring about these thoughts and inputs to the industry. And we thank all our audience as well who joined in on a working day morning. Really appreciate your time, spending time to understand more about SLS and Formlabs. So we'd like to thank all of you, and we look forward to seeing you again in the next series, maybe another webinar or any of our events in India or in other locations. So thanks a lot, everyone, and look forward to catching up with all of you.